Resident Evil 4, originally released in 2005 for the Nintendo GameCube. Developed and published by Capcom, and the last Resident Evil game that Shinji Mikami had any hand in. A game in which you play as ex-Raccoon City officer Leon S. Kennedy, back again 6 years after the events of Resident Evil 2. Now trained as a government agent, he is out to find the US President's missing daughter, Ashley Graham, who has been kidnapped and traced to a delightful village somewhere deep in rural Spain. It's up to Leon to rescue her from a religious cult of people afflicted with something that isn't the T-virus. The GameCube version was one of the few GameCube games that came on multiple discs. This led to higher quality visuals and audio without sacrificing any real game content. It was critically acclaimed and received raving reviews, which led to a re-release later that year on PlayStation 2, which held additional content such as a new unlockable weapon and a new side campaign, but at the cost of highly compressed video cutscenes, lower quality visuals, and audio, due to it only being on a single disc. And then it released again, in 2007, on PC, with surprisingly weak visuals and somewhat poor controls. Then again, later that year, on the Wii, sporting motion controls, of which were considered arguably bad or just okay. Then again, in 2009, for iOS as Resident Evil 4 Platinum, which cut a ton of content to reduce the load on the system, and then a year later on iPad as Resident Evil 4 iPad Edition, which is, to this day, still incomplete. And also somewhere in there on the Zeebo, which was a console that only retailed in Brazil, Mexico, Russia, India, and China, and lacked the graphical fidelity to really even run the iOS version of Resident Evil 4. And then it released again in 2011, in HD, as a downloadable title for both PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. And then again, finally, on PC in 2014, as the arguably ultimate HD version. So as you can see, Capcom was rather proud of this title and wasn't afraid to push it almost as much as they pushed Street Fighter II. But they had good reason. At the time, Resident Evil 4 was considered one of the best games out there. But has it held up after all these years? Well, you're free to play it yourself and find out. Or join me and partake in some of my fond memories of years past as we play
Resident Evil 4.